Hello, everyone. Carrie Benedetti here, and I have the most amazing gal with us today who's going to walk the walk with us. Jane Turner. How are you, Jane?
I'm good, Carrie, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you. And I feel honoured that I'm going to be on the journey with the authors that you're involving here.
Oh, it is a wonderful opportunity, and I think the time is right to really get some incredible messages of human centered leadership from our authors. And it's such an amazing opportunity, Jane. So, why wouldn't we have an author coach like yourself with such experience to walk the walk with us? And I think it's just a great thing to do. So it's with great pleasure I introduce you to everybody who's going to be in our book, A Matter of Global Importance. And it's from leaders of culture, business, and education who, over the last 4 years, have really come to understand what it's going to mean to be a leader for the future. And it's a future unknown yet. So we thought this video would be helpful for everybody just to, number one, get an idea of our relationship, your assistance with us. So over to you. Let's talk about what it is we're going to be doing.
Yes. Well, look, I know that some of the people included in this book have perhaps already written books themselves, and they feel quite adept at sharing their message, and they won't feel at all challenged by the idea of, getting the ideas out of their head and onto the page that is going to resonate with their target audience. Now, we were just having a chat about target audience before we hit the record button here. And of course, there is a broad target audience that you have envisaged yourself, Carrie, as the curator of this book. You have the future in mind and future leaders in mind as the target audience. But it will be very interesting, I think, to get back any feedback from the people who are involved in this project about who specifically their target audience is. Because I know that somebody who has already said yes has very much of a health focus. So their target audience will be different to somebody else who is looking at a sustainability angle. And I have a template that, of course, we'll be sharing with all of your authors to make it easier for them. But it's certainly appropriate in the context of talking about learning styles that some people will find that incredibly helpful. Some people will be in so much rejection mode about, oh, I don't like that feels like I'm being stymied. That feels like you're trying to push me into, a category of some kind. So what we're trying to do is actually just be helpful in the way that we can to as many people as we can. And of course, there's the matter of trust, that we trust the people who are wise enough to opt in, to know how to go about asking for help if they need it. Let's put it that way. And that's my role, is I'm here to help if anyone needs it.
Oh, thank you, Jane. And look, we've had some great response already. So we've sent out invitations to basically anyone I have worked with, connected with, networked with over the last 4 years, since I started working for myself. And I have to say, my heart skips a beat, really, when I think about how privileged I have been in meeting the most incredible people. I like people who like people, and that's who has been asked. People who are genuinely interested in humanity, who have looked back over the last few years and have realised that they have a story to tell about how they show up these days and how focused they are on leading themselves so they can lead others in whatever it is that you are doing. Our uniqueness is the gift of humanity. And I think we're looking for how can we make a dent in the thinking of how we will lead when we're long gone, when we're in the box. So we're really aiming for those middle leaders now, or those leaders in their 35s, 40s, who will be our future leaders for tomorrow. And I'm even thinking of my grandchildren, what's their world going to be like? And so we've been making some major decisions over the last few years. Technology has been massive, just speeding up the pace of life, the pace of business, this notion of accessing information and putting information out there, what is real, is not real. But we're also looking at our well-being, our cognitive response, our emotional response, the way we're looking after each other. But how are we going to do that holistically for a leadership of a beautiful world that we're all invested in? And the stories of everyone I talk to are just amazing. The adversity that we can honour, work through, and then put into changing ourselves and making a better product perhaps, or a better relationship with somebody, a better connection with people. I think that's the most important thing.
I love that. And I dare say you would be open to ideas from anybody
Yes.
who is opting in for this as well. But we were talking about having semi-regular Zoom link-ups where people can come on and ask any questions they have, and perhaps even read a part. Wouldn't it be great if people come on and read some of their material, or, you know, even ask for advice? And you're not being prescriptive in terms of the structure, but the simplest structure in the world could be to treat your chapter as if it's a mini book. So there needs to be an introduction. You're introducing the idea at the base of the material that you're sharing. So there's the introduction piece. There's then the material that you're sharing, the ideas. Perhaps it's that something has happened to you along the way that forced you to stop and change what you're doing. It could be something. I, for example, had been a public servant my whole life up to the age of 52 when I was made redundant. Well, that pushed me into a corner to find some resourcefulness in myself that I never even knew I had. And it completely changed the trajectory of my life. And so if you're struggling about, well, where do I start? You could start by looking at what has made a big impact in your own life, and what happened then. What did you do? And it's that generative piece of humans and their resourcefulness that we want to capture in this book. So, you know, you've got the template to help. You've got the idea of, if you want to keep it super, super simple, you're introducing the idea, you're explaining the idea, giving an example of the way the idea played out, and then you're sort of concluding, so what?
The so what,
The answer we're needing there, and or really we're open to whatever people send through, and then for people to be just aware that there is no criticism if we send suggestions back about perhaps this would work better, or had you thought of doing this. So it's just going to be a process that runs itself in some regards. It's a guided process. Both of us are going to be having the eye on the ball the whole time, but it's really open to the best possible outcome that comes from all of the wonderful minds that you're engaging here, Carrie. So I think really we can't go wrong.
We can't. And the other thing we were talking about, Jane, there will be a shared folder, and all the information, such as this video, the outline that we're going to send you, the extra information, dates, all that sort of thing will be in that as well. Because if some of you have got assistants who will be helping manage your calendar, making sure you're meeting the deadlines, we'll give you all that. So I'm just thrilled, and I am just chuffed that after all these number of years, and sometimes those last 4 years feel like a lifetime when they're actually been just 4 calendar years, that you've said yes. It's just beautiful. So I feel privileged that I've actually met the most amazing people I was meant to meet. And Jane Turner is one of those, everybody. So Jane, I think that's enough for today. And I just want to say to everybody, thank you. Thank you for trusting. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for that story that you mightn't think is hugely interesting to other people. I tell you what, it absolutely is.